session after that, and I was happy. And immediately after that, there was Eid after that, and immediately after that, they issued a warrant. And I felt then that this is just victimization. This is just that because I have been let off, or I have been, the case against has been decided in my favor. This is what their, ego has been hurt, and they want to, now get me into other cases. So that is why I thought it prudent to leave the country.
But some people say that it was under rather dubious circumstances. They say you went to Afghanistan, and then to Iran, and then to Dubai, and then to London. Very dubious, don't you think?
Well, I wouldn't want to say how I went, but I did go to London.
They also say that your batchmate, the chairman of NAB at that point, also had something to do with your departure, your timely departure.
He had something to do with making cases against me.
But let's take a segue. You just served as the Interior Minister, the chief enforcer of law and order in the country. Keeping that in mind, how do you feel about your own fleeing? What does that say to people about your character? The man who fled the country when NAB came knocking is now Interior Minister and enforcing law and order. Don't you think that's a paradox?
He is the same man who came back on his own and faced the courts, was in jail, and was then acquitted in the cases and came out. He is the same person who was elected by his constituency, and he was then in government because of his being elected and vindicated from the courts.
All right. Now here's another paradox question. You spent over 2 decades with the PPP. The PPP has a long tradition of being against military rulers. You were part of that movement in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. Then, one fine day, the 99 October 12 coup happened. You supported that coup. You were out of the country and you supported that coup. What does that say about your PPP credentials or your democratic credentials?
You see, if you look at the credential of PPP, they have, how did they come into power? I know the answer. I don't want to go into that. But naturally, there has been tactic support from the army always. If you look at that period, after the 1999, when Pervez Musharraf took over, not a single national leader opposed him. They were all silent. So what does that mean?
I'm not interviewing them. I'm interviewing you.
Yes.
Being a staunch PPP man through the ZAB years, you lost your brother in the way of the PPP, in the name of the PPP, in the name of democracy. And today, you are sitting here, you've just served as Interior Minister and WAPDA Minister under a military regime, some would call it. You supported the October 99 coup. Where have your democratic credentials gone?
Let me answer that. What has PPP given to me? I have given. My brother has given something to PPP.
We have to take a short break here, Mr. Sherpao. We're talking to Aftab Ahmed Khan Sherpao. You're watching TalkBack. Do not go anywhere. Hello and welcome to TalkBack. We are with Aftab Ahmed Khan Sherpao. Let's keep Balochistan in perspective and talk about your session at the Interior Ministry. Were you just a front man for the military, making statements about Balochistan? Because this is what happened. In the early part of your tenure when you started making statements like there was a need for national consensus on Balochistan. This is in the middle of 2005. You said that there was going to be no army operation in Balochistan. This is also around the same time. You said you were for talking, that the Balochistan crisis, and this is a quote from you, the government believes in solving the Balochistan crisis through peaceful means, and talks will continue until the issue is finally resolved. This is a quote from you from the news in February 2005. And then there was a change of tone, heralded by yourself. Once again, you said you were against talking. There is no question of talking to anyone involved in sabotaging the peace in the province. This is around the middle of 2006. The army gets involved finally. First, you were not for the army getting involved. Then you said that there was focused action in the province. You also said that you were for the setting up of cantonments for whatever reasons. You cited economic reasons this time. So the question, sir, is that over time, during the Balochistan, the height of the Balochistan crisis, that is called 05, 06 and part of 07, were you just the front man for the military, making political statements, doing not much else?
That is not the case. When I said that we wanted dialogue, we meant it. And that is how, things were moving. If you look at it, even in the Senate, there was a committee and they wanted to, go there, and that committee went there and talked to all the political leaders. Even a committee was there which went and talked to Mr. Bhutto, and that kept on going.
Then why was he killed?
And you see, but you have to look at both sides of the stories. Well, if he didn't respond to that, or the activities continued when the Sui gas field was attacked, and half the country was without Sui gas, well, someone had to take some remedial measures for that. And
but when the government had committed itself to talking via your statements, when the government was saying that it will talk until the issue is finally resolved, this is you talking,
yes,
then why would you kill Bhutto?
No, that is some different circumstances, how he was, killed. I'm sure, had they known that he was there, it wouldn't have happened. But that is something different. But the basic theme was to keep on talking. The basic theme was to resolve the issue politically. The basic theme was to amicably settle the issues of
But it wasn't, Sherpao Saab, it wasn't. All right, being a political man, politics is in your veins. Being a political man, don't you think that Balochistan is inherently a political problem?
It is a political
Then
problem.
why solve it militarily?
It wasn't solved militarily. It's still being solved politically.
Don't you think bombing Bhutto's cave is solving something,
So,
trying to solve something militarily?
Just give me a chance. There was a political government there. There was an elected government there. And that is how, you resolve things. It was there. And they had the majority. Bhutto didn't have the majority in the provincial assembly. He had just 4 or 5 members. So you had to, govern through that provincial government.
See, that's parliamentary politics. I'm talking about the politics of negotiations. The
You
politics of the
negotiate
economy.
with a person who also responds. And that is what
So he was killed because he wasn't negotiating?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he did not respond positively, and it kept on. The talks kept on right to the last minute.
So if your paramilitaries, as you claim, killed him, then what was the reason? Was he not talking? Is that why had the government had enough?
No. When in an area where you see the president of Pakistan goes and he's fired at by missiles, and naturally these were miscreants, and they had to, the army or the paramilitary forces had to respond to that. So I have all along been saying that the forces, the paramilitary forces, will not initiate. It will only react. If you are fired upon, they'll fire back. Otherwise, they will not fire. And that is why you have so many paramilitary forces casualties.
It's interesting that you say that the paramilitaries will not initiate, they will only react.
Yes.
Because you also made statements which were for setting up military cantonments. Now, military cantonments